It was a crisp Monday morning in suburban Columbus, Ohio, when I received the message that would redefine my relationship with my family forever. The text came at exactly 8:14 a.m. from my mother's number. "We've changed all the locks on the front door and updated the gate code. We no longer trust you." Those words hit like a cold splash of water. I stared at the screen not because I didn't expect something like this, but because the tone was so clinical, so detached, as if they were firing me from the family business rather than severing family ties. I took a deep breath and typed back calmly. "Understood, very smart, but I think you overlooked one thing." I didn't wait around for a reply. I opened my banking app and canceled the $5,000 monthly mortgage payment I had been sending for nearly 4 years. That was the mortgage on the house they had given to my sister Emily, the same sister they insisted deserved the home, because she had provided grandchildren while I had supposedly only delivered disappointment. For years, I had quietly carried the financial weight of the family home. Utilities, insurance, internet bills, even emergency repairs when storms ripped through the neighborhood, all paid by me without so much as a thank you. And yet here I was being cast aside like a charity case. 2 days after I stopped the payments, an email arrived from their attorney. The subject line was blunt, all caps, "We have a problem. Call immediately." But by then, it was already over. The message from my mother didn't just hurt, it marked the moment I stopped being a helper and started reclaiming myself. For years, I had believed that supporting my family meant endless yeses. I paid the bills, fixed the broken things, and carried their burdens without question. They called it help until I finally stopped. That morning, when the locks were changed and the gate code was updated, I had already made a change far more significant. I had changed myself. To be honest, I never thought I was merely helping. I convinced myself I was saving the family, preserving the house, maintaining the balance. After all, I was paying $200 a month on the mortgage, like clockwork, every single month via automatic withdrawal from my account. Along with that came the utilities, property insurance, internet bills, and costly repairs like the emergency roof patch after last fall's storm tore away half the shingles. It was my name on the bank statements, my credit being used, my money going out month after month, and yet no thanks ever came. Emily, my sister, was constantly drowning in crises. Her credit cards were maxed out. I paid those down. Her car needed brake work. I covered that too. When daycare costs ballooned beyond her budget, I sent cash until she could find her footing. 3 years later, she was still figuring it out, and somehow I never once said no, because I thought that's what family did. Until I realized that was exactly what they were counting on. The first real crack in the facade came on a quiet Sunday afternoon while I was waiting for my grocery delivery. I was scrolling through Facebook when I stumbled upon a photo that felt like a punch to the gut. There they were, my mother Emily and the kids standing proudly in front of the house I'd been paying for all these years. Emily held a sign that read "Home Sweet Home," and beneath the photo my mother had posted, "So proud of my daughter for building a future we can all share. This home is in the right hands." Not once was I mentioned. No tag, no acknowledgement, not even a subtle nod to my years of support. The comment section was a parade of emojis, hearts, claps, and praises. Friends and family chimed in with remarks like, "Emily is such a strong woman and what a rock for your family." Even my aunt joined in declaring Emily deserves every inch of that house. I wanted to throw my phone across the room. Instead, I just sat there staring at the screen as if it were a bruise I wasn't ready to touch yet. A few days later, I called the bank just to confirm the mortgage was still under my name. It was. But then the bank representative mentioned a request had been submitted the previous week to change the primary contact to Emily. The paperwork was in progress, though the verification hadn't been completed. My heart sank. Then, as if things couldn't get worse, I noticed an unauthorized $2,700 charge had been withdrawn from my checking account, a transfer to a credit card I hadn't approved. I knew that number. It was Emily's emergency card, the same one I'd bailed her out of during her unemployment 2 years prior. I sent a calm text, "Did you use my card again?" Her reply came quickly. "Don't make it a thing, Alex. We needed groceries and the kids needed shoes. I thought we were still sharing that card." I responded firmly, "No, we weren't." Emily didn't answer, but my mother did. "Honey, Emily's going through a lot right now. She said she'd pay you back. Let's not start a war over a few dollars." A few dollars, $2, $700 was a few dollars when I was footing bills, but a missed phone payment was a crisis. Not long after, a message popped up in our family group chat. Someone had renamed it Family Circle without my permission. The first post was a meme, a man handing over his wallet captioned "Big Brother Energy Pay, Now Ask Never." My cousin tagged me immediately. Another joked, "Hey, can we get you to cover my student loans too?" Even my father joined in, joking that I should rename my child after him to stay in his good graces. I stared at the screen, stunned. No one defended me. No one made a joke to soften the blow. I left the chat. They added me back. I left again. Finally, I blocked them all. But none of that compared to what happened that Friday. I was mowing the backyard, the same yard I'd been maintaining for 3 summers, because in my father's words, it's not worth hiring anyone when you're around anyway. The mower sputtered and I paused for a water break. The kitchen window was open. That's when I heard them. My mother and Emily, their voices clear and sharp like rehearsed lines. Emily laughed. "Did you see his face when I told Aunt Karen the house was mine? He didn't even blink, like a puppy happy to sniff the plate." Mom giggled. "It's almost done. Once the paperwork's through, he won't be able to say a thing. He insisted on keeping it in his name. That's on him." Then Emily said, "Honestly, it's better this way. He's always been distant, like a guest with a wallet." And then came the words that broke me. "Mom, he's not family anymore. He's just a sponsor." I didn't move. I stood there with the bottle of water in my hand, feeling it trickle down my fingers like blood. That line shattered the last piece of whatever illusion I'd been holding on to. They didn't know I was listening. They didn't see me walk away. But that moment wasn't just an end. Something new began to form inside me, not anger, not grief, but a fierce resolve. They didn't expect me to show up at Mom's 60th birthday party. The invitation arrived in a stiff white envelope trimmed with gold and embossed with elegant lettering. 60 guests, a grand venue, full catering, a slideshow of family memories. I didn't RSVP, I didn't call. I circled the date in red on my calendar and prepared. 3 days before the event, I printed a detailed document listing every financial contribution I'd made over the years. It totaled $225,000, covering mortgage payments, utilities, insurance, repairs, each entry meticulously dated and backed by bank statements. I loaded the document onto a USB drive along with the audio recording I'd captured through the open kitchen window, their voices admitting everything. On the night of the party, the venue was exactly as I imagined: white linen covered tables, towering balloon arrangements, a projector cycling through baby photos and beach vacations. Waiters in black ties glided through the room. Cousins in cocktail dresses mingled, and my mother stood at the front wearing an emerald green gown framed by a sign that read, "A house is not a home without family." I arrived 10 minutes late on purpose. Heads turned as I entered. Some smiled politely, others stiffened. Emily caught my eye, blinked twice, forced a tight grin, and quickly turned away. I didn't wave or speak. I took a seat at the back. The speeches began. Emily went first, speaking about sacrifice and love, praising the strength of family bonds. The slideshow behind her displayed a photo of the house with a caption, "Built with love, passed down with purpose." Not a word about me. Then Mom took the microphone. She dabbed at her eyes and in a voice dripping with sentiment praised Emily for her legacy. The room applauded. Then I stood and walked to the microphone. "Since we're talking about legacy," I began calmly, "let's do the math." I clicked the USB to play the audio recording. Mom's voice echoed, "He's not family anymore, he's just a sponsor." Emily's laughter followed like a puppy sniffing the plate. Gasps rippled through the crowd. A woman dropped her wine glass. I clicked to the next file, the screenshots of the family group chat, the bank ledger detailing every payment. "If this house truly belongs to Emily," I said, holding up the thick packet of documents, "then I'm here to present a bill, not a gift, a debt." Silence. Emily shouted, "Are you serious?" "Dead serious," I replied, "unless you want to call it theft." Mom snapped back, "It was a gift." "Funny," I said, stepping closer. "I didn't sign a gift certificate. I signed every check." My father stood looking ready to explode. I turned to him. "Want to talk about the loan application you co-signed using my name without telling me I've got that too?" He sat down. Then unexpectedly my grandfather entered. He walked to the front, took the microphone, and addressed the room slowly. "You raised a thief and a coward. You tried to bury your son in silence. But mud doesn't hide footprints for long." He looked at me and said, "The trust is yours now." I'd changed it last week. Emily's name was removed completely. Gasps filled the room. Mom's face faltered. Emily grabbed a chair to steady herself. "Want legacy?" Grandpa said, locking eyes with them. "Earn it, the hard way." He dropped the mic and walked out. I placed the invoice on the gift table beside the boxed wine and photo albums. "You changed the locks," I said loud enough for the back row to hear. "I changed my future. I'm not your donor, I'm your debt collector." Then I walked out. No cake, no handshakes, no looking back. The party was over, so was the lie. The next morning, I woke up to 57 unread messages on my phone. The first was from my mother. "You humiliated me on my birthday. You made a mockery of your own blood." Then came a text from my father. "I don't care what you think you're owed, you won't see a single cent." Emily stayed silent but posted a black screen on her Instagram story. The comments under her last photo were full of vague sympathy. "You don't deserve this." "Stay strong, Mama, family will destroy you faster than strangers." None of them knew she had called me a wallet behind a closed door. None had seen the invoice or the audio recording, but someone else had. 2 days later, I received a call from an unknown number. The voice was calm and crisp. "Mr. Carson, my name is Daniel Moore. I'm an attorney representing your parents. I'd like to discuss a potential financial resolution." I didn't say a word. "They're not interested in a lawsuit," he continued. "They want this to go away quietly, no press, no social media. In exchange, they're willing to offer a settlement." I leaned back in my chair. Let me guess, I said. Half the amount I'm owed in exchange for silence. A reasonable offer, he said. Daniel, I replied, I have every receipt, every bank deposit. I have the audio of them mocking me. I have their voices admitting what they did. I'm aware, he said stiffly. That's why we're calling. Here's what we'll do, I said. Full repayment every cent, or I file a public claim with the audio as evidence. You have 72 hours. There was a pause. Understood, I'll be in touch. Exactly 72 hours later, a wire transfer landed in my account. 225 date and 47 116s, labeled reimbursement settlement. It didn't come from my parents or Emily. The sender was a private business account registered to someone I didn't recognize, probably a loan shark or a panicked family friend. That made it even sweeter. I printed the transaction, filed the paperwork 6 different ways, and didn't reply thank or say a word. I wasn't there to make peace. I was there to be paid. A week after the settlement, I posted a video online. The background was clean, no anger in my voice, just clarity. Some say closure comes with forgiveness. For me, it came with a wire transfer $225, $847.16. The price of 4 years of silence, obedience, and financing someone else's fantasy. They called me family, then a sponsor. Now they can call me settled. I blurred the account numbers but left the sum visible. This isn't about hate. It's about facts, and facts come with receipts. The post went viral. Therapists shared it. Adult children of toxic parents stitched it. One man commented that it inspired him to cancel his mom's car lease. I didn't respond. That same day, I got a voicemail from my father. So that's it. You really think money fixes it? You think you won. I deleted it without listening. They'd changed the locks. I changed the terms. Now I live in a small modern apartment with huge windows and absolute silence. No family group chats, no late-night requests for quick help, no guilt trips disguised as concern. People ask if it hurts being done with them. It doesn't, because the truth is, I'm not done. I'm free. Freedom cost exactly $225 and $847 next towns. People ask if cutting off my family brought peace or closure. The answer is simple: I don't feel lighter. I feel clearer. Peace isn't always weightlessness. Sometimes it's gravity, a grounded, steady knowing that you're finally standing on your own side. After everything, they vanished exactly as I expected. No calls, no letters, no "we miss you." Just silence, not the kind that hurts, but the kind that confirms the truth. I was never a son to them. I was a service. And once I stopped functioning, I stopped fitting in. 2 months later, I finally discovered how to enjoy mornings again the way sunlight filters through clean windows. The steady drip of coffee brewing the quiet, without texts pinging or urgent family demands. No more group chats begging for favors. No more passive-aggressive messages. Hey, can you transfer something real quick? No. My phone is quiet, my hands are steady, and I no longer wait for anyone to ask how I'm doing unless they genuinely care about the answer. People who only know parts of the story still ask, but they're your family. I nod and say, sure, like a cage is still a home if you've never known anything else. But I've stepped outside. The air out here doesn't ask me to prove my usefulness. I don't share the full story anymore, not unless someone has earned the right to hear it. There's no thrill in retelling trauma, only exhaustion. Now, when people ask why I'm not close with my family, I simply say I stopped mistaking access for love. That usually shuts them up. I used to check my old accounts just to see if they had tried to reach out. They never did. No apologies, no explanations, not even the usual guilt trips disguised as concern. Just total silence as if I'd never existed. As if 225, 847 16ths of my life had been an administrative error. They corrected it by erasing me. Fine. Let them pretend. Pretending is what they do best. The worst part is they probably think I still care. That I'm out here stewing in anger, waiting for an apology, secretly hoping they'll change. I'm not. I've seen them for what they really are. And when the mask slips that far, you don't wait for it to go back on. You walk away. You don't look back. Forgiveness, no. That's a word people throw around when they want your warmth without earning it. Forgiveness requires acknowledgement, responsibility, regret. They offered none of that. So I offer nothing back. My therapist once asked, "What would you say to them if they were standing in front of you?" I thought about it for a long time. I sat quietly imagining their faces, the masks built from years of denial and manipulation. And I said nothing, because saying something would mean they still have access. They don't. There's no key anymore, no emergency contact, no shared bank account, no saved number just in case. I deleted every trace of them from my life. Not out of spite, but out of necessity. Survival is quiet like that. It doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with locked doors and clean slates. Sometimes I imagine what my family says about me now. They probably think I cut them off over money, that I was always distant, or that I lost it. Let them keep their versions softened, flattering, painting themselves as victims, and me as the ungrateful child who dared to say no. They need that fiction. I have the facts. Facts don't beg. They don't whine. They don't crumble under scrutiny. Facts sit still. They wait. They endure, just like I have. Now I live my life, not in some fairy tale, not in revenge. Just life, real, sometimes boring mine. I work, I rest, I laugh when it's funny, I eat when I'm hungry. Not when I'm begged to show up for some family dinner where I'll foot the bill and be forgotten anyway. I still remember what my mother once said years ago. If you ever left, we'd fall apart. She was right. They did fall apart, but I didn't. I'm not broken. I'm not bitter. I'm not waiting. I'm just done. Not as a warning. Not as a statement, as a fact, like a locked phone, like a cleared inbox, like a number that rings once and goes nowhere. No forwarding, no return, just me, whole and free. Since breaking away, my life has changed in ways I never expected. The mornings are quieter, filled with sunlight and peace rather than tension and obligation. I've learned to savor small joys, the smell of a fresh coffee, the calm of an empty inbox, the freedom to say no without guilt. Without the constant demands of a family that took without giving, I finally feel like I'm living for myself. There's no more waiting for calls that never come, no more empty promises or silent resentments. Some people think family ties are unbreakable. I learned that sometimes cutting those ties is the only way to save yourself. I've rebuilt my life on my own terms, steady, grounded, and true. And for the first time in a long time, I am whole.